few different things for everybody's capability of asking some questions. So when we do have a question, if you wouldn't mind, please use the enter questions for staff little box for us here. Type in your questions. I'll get to them as quickly as possible. Sometimes the questions come because I am some leading questions or comments as we go along here. So again, would like to thank you for taking the time on this fantastic Friday to join us here, and hopefully we'll get a good little overview here on SimpleWorx, how to program some products and become a little more profitable for everybody. So again, let's kind of chat a little bit about what we're going to do today, the agenda, kind of sum up what are the opportunities, what is SimpleWorx, how does it actually work, what are the products that are available in this product line, some of the applications, and of course the applications are all up to your imagination. And of course, benefits, and we'll leave an open area here at the end for questions as well. But as they come along, just kind of pop them in that little box there for you. And hopefully everybody can see our little demo here. We got the webcam. I apologize for the darkness. It's cloudy and gray here in Southern California today. Normally I have some sunlight, and it's a little bit better of a view. But how you doing, folks? So a little bit about PCS. We've been a U.S. manufacturer. We've been around since 1992. We've been around 22 years. And one of the big claims to fame is that we have been living on the power line our whole career. And kind of proud that we were the first to introduce scene-based lighting control over the power line, meaning that, you know, you hit one button and different things start to dim down all at once instead of kind of a popcorn fashion. We did invent the UPV technology, which is used in our PulseWorx product line back in '99, and just recently have introduced the SimpleWorx technology called SPC. Now, a lot of people are always asking, what the heck's with all the names that you have out there? Well, PCS is our company. SimpleWorx is one of the brands of lighting controls that we market and sell. And SPC, Simple Powerline Communication Technology, is exactly that. That's the technology that we're using to communicate over the electrical wiring. So one of the things we kind of look at is we give you all the benefits of a hardwired system without having to run any of the new wires. I mean, it's just use the copper that's there. We're kind of smart that way. We have the electricians go and pull all the power wires. And so we kind of call ourselves wireless. Everybody, you know, kind of thinks in their mind, wireless systems. You know, I'm not having to drag wire in between each other, but you know, the reality is that wireless is kind of RF or radio frequency type technologies. So we kind of look at it as a little more wireless. So one of the things I look at is what's the opportunity. You know, some real interesting numbers that can go around. And we kind of look at different things, and if my machine would quickly catch up. The number of households in the United States. We've got almost 117 million and growing. Real nice. The building boom has started to come back after a wonderful recession. When you look at that, and how many light bulb sockets are in the United States? You know, we're in lighting control. You know, having a switch or this kind of pull cord was lighting control back in the day. There's 4 billion of those out and about. The average number of bulbs in a house that we can control. And the way I look at this is a giant pie for us to go and put a little bit of technology on. Average size home is about 2,600 square feet in the United States, and there's an average of 45 light bulbs in that home. So that kind of gives us a lot of opportunity to kind of do some things. Light bulbs purchased per year, and we kind of want to understand why people were freaking out when you know, they wanted to get rid of the incandescent bulb. LEDs are kind of taken over at this point, but there were about 2 billion light bulbs purchased a year. That's a lot of light bulbs. It's almost 5.5 million a day. So, you know, looking at the bulb market, that's a lot of bulbs. Let's kind of talk about the switch market. We're just talking about standard toggle switches, dimmer switches, things like that that are sold every single year. In 2006, it was almost a $900 million business. Nice little business in the switch space. It's now 1.3 billion. So that's almost a double there. By 2016, they expect global sales to go all the way up to 2.6 billion. That's double again. So lighting control is finally, I've been in this business for 30 years, is finally the it thing. It's not structured wiring, it's not surround sound, it's not distributed audio, it's all about lighting control, and you know, we're actually trying to get into some energy savings and things like that with some of that. And one of the other things I kind of look at is automation reality. And in the U.S. residential market, the penetration of what is actually automated in a home. The number one thing that's automated is a programmable thermostat. And you know, all the IT type stuff, the wireless things, that's growing as we know it. Home theater is the next automated item. You know, all the different remotes, all the IR commands. There's about 27% of home theaters or television systems are automated. Home security is about 23%, and that's growing rapidly. We can look at the advancements that's going on in a variety of the different alarm panels out there, and the bigger companies and what they're doing to have that alarm panel become the hub of the automation type things. Lighting controls, the reality is the lighting controls are only about 11%. But something with a system, you know, with a control panel or a remote or something like that is only 6%. So I look at it this way, the pie of being able to gain market share is monstrous. So, you know, I think you can see that there's an opportunity here for us all to be a little more profitable. So with that all being said, and the rosy future that I have painted here for you on this Friday afternoon, what is SimpleWorx? Well, SimpleWorx is a solution solver. A lot of people, a lot of electricians need a solution to turn something on and off, and they don't want to run wire. So, you know, it's a product line that anybody can install. An integrator, electrician, security, installers, landscape contractors, you know, mom and pop. You know, a lot of people can do this, and it's not rocket science. So we kind of look at this as a way to control different things. And we actually offer a simple on and off control of a device. And it can be as easy as a virtual three-way. You know, like I turn on my back porch light and I can turn on the garage, or I turn on, you know, a kitchen light and it turns on my garage light. So, you know, we can give you on and off control of single or groups of devices and a lot more. So those are kind of quick, easy application type things. Now, what is SPC? Simple Powerline communication is the latest technology that we've come up with, and it's a derivative from our commercial product line. It is a one-way technology, and you know, part of I think, my belief is that, you know, everybody keeps saying, I need two-way, I need two-way, I need to know the status of something. Well, personal reality is you go to your grandmother's house and you turn on her front door switch, you know, to turn on the light. Do you open up the front door and look outside and see if the light's on? No, you just expect it to be on. And my belief is that I think one of the big reasons that people keep saying, oh, I have to have two-way is some of the earlier technologies really didn't work so well. So they had to know, or they wanted to know. And one of the realities is that a lot of these two-way devices that are out there aren't really telling you the truth, because nobody's reading current draw. And what I mean by that is, let's say I turn the switch on and the light bulb is burnt out. And I go and ask that switch, hey, am I on? The switch is going to come back and say, sure, yeah, I'm on at 100% or I'm at 50% or whatever level it's on. The reality is the light's not on. So, you know, that's kind of a misnomer. So, you know, one of the things that we look at is we want to give somebody a solution to turn something on and off. Now, how does it work? We, you know, in simple terms, as I put it, is we use the electrical wiring like a LAN. We communicate, we send signals over the electrical wiring, and this is the AC sine wave we're showing here, and with that, we send digital pulses down that copper at a very, very high voltage. It can be 70 volts peak to peak, or some of it can be actually 140 volts peak to peak. That being that strong, we can actually get a distance capability of 5,000 linear feet. That's over a mile. And we don't have to do any sort of coupling, as with some of the other technologies that are out there. So it's a very, very loud signal, and it's at a very, very low frequency, between 4 and 40 kilohertz. So it's kind of like a subwoofer that's just pounding out there. Turn on, turn on, turn on, type of a thing. So with those two things, and the third is automatic gain control, as all of the receivers are continually listening for the transmitters, and they will adjust to that level. And the way I kind of look at that is that, you know, if you're at a party and you're working, you know, you're talking to your friends or something like that, and your kids all of a sudden say, Daddy, it's kind of like, you know that sound. So you're always listening for that. Now, one of the things that I look at is kind of look at some of the other technologies that are out there, a little more robust than some of the RF technologies. We don't suffer from some of the issues and limitations. And one of them, you know, there's a lot of technologies out there right now, Clear Connect, Z-Wave, Zigbee. A lot of those need a central brain. And if for some reason, God forbid, that central brain goes down, you know, you got catastrophic failure, you're not going to have items to be able to talk to each other. All of our devices store the programming on board. So if one switch goes down, it's just that light you can't turn on off, just like if a light bulb burns out. There's no open air issues. A lot of these systems have to have a repeater or a lot of devices to get a signal from point A to point B. We just had a situation where we had a rancher wanted to be able to control lights out by his barn, which is, you know, 500 feet away. And, you know, we had no problem getting a signal out there. And when you're talking RF, you know, if it's open air, you know, maybe. But a lot of these systems do need repeaters, and they get quite expensive. One of the other things is we don't have structural interference. You know, concrete and rebar create a nice little Faraday cage to not allow signals, you know, to get around. Lath and plaster give you the capability, you know, the concrete and stuff that keep the signal from going somewhere. So as I look at it, is we're not press and pray. So, you know, a lot of the systems that are out there, you know, you hope the signal gets out and about. Now, setting up a system is super easy. So what we've got here is a keypad, and I can demonstrate the capability here. I'm going to use we have 4 buttons on this keypad. So what I can do is I can press and hold this top button down for 8 seconds, and the light, the little LED in the upper right-hand corner here, will start to blink. Okay, right next to the button. So that's now in what we call setup mode, and that will stay in setup mode for 5 minutes. So if I wanted to control, say, this light, which is my pool light, I'm going to press and hold the bottom for receive for 8 seconds. The light will flash, and the LED here is blinking as well. And within 20 seconds, that light will blink again. So they are now connected. That's it. That's all it takes to have that button control that switch. Now I can take this out of setup by pressing the button once. It's out of setup. It would time out after 5 minutes, but now I just push the button and it goes and sends a signal, turns the light on. Voila, we have light. So super, super easy. It's not rocket science. My next door neighbor's 6-year-old kid could set up their landscape system. So super, super easy. So it's a matter of having a transmitter link up or pair with a receiver. Now, there are a few limitations to the system. I don't think they're so bad, but a transmitter can talk to as many receivers as you want. So I could have that #1 button talk to as many receivers that want to listen. And from there, it's on the receiver side that we actually have the limitation. So a receiver can only listen to 8 devices. So in this situation here, I can have that one switch talk to each one of the buttons on this keypad. That would be 4. 2 other transmitter switches. That would be 6. An input module, and a timer. And that would be 8. And a lot of people say to me, hey, what happens if you have it try and be added to a 9th? Well, when it's in the setup mode, it'll blink at me twice instead of once, saying, nope, I'm full. I can't learn anymore. So it's super, super easy. You know, an average that we're seeing is 4. You know, you might have a button press. I might have another switch talk to that light as well, and maybe a timer type of a thing. So it's not real expansive, but it's 8 items that a receiver can listen to. So let's kind of chat about some of the products that we have available. Obviously, there's transmitters. In that side, we have a timer. We have keypads. We have wall mount as well as desktop keypads. We've got wall switches that are transmitters. The reality is the wall switches are transceivers. We've got plug-in style modules where, you know, we've got a contact closure input. And we've got a fixture style module that will transmit too. So we'll talk a little bit more about these. The receivers, we've got the plug-in style, you know, kind of showing right here. You plug a little lamp into it or plug your transformer into it. The wall switches, obviously, and then we also have a fixture module that's a receiver as well. The wall switches, again, are transceivers. It just depends on how you program them as to what they're going to do. And we'll kind of get into that here in a moment. So the first is our DAT, or our daily astronomical timer. This is actually an astronomical clock, and it can control 4 different groups of devices. So we call them channels. So I got channel 1, channel 2, channel 3, and channel 4 on the DAT. And I have a total of 16 different events that I can have it transmit. So, you know, that can be at a specific time. So at 5:30 in the morning, I have it turn on my landscape lights because it's dark at 5:30 in the morning, even in the summertime. However, I have them turn those lights off at sunrise. So I can have other you know, different things happen at sunrise or sunset, and I can do that within a 75-minute random time, and those are done in 15-minute increments. So it can be, you know, sunset plus 15, sunset plus 30, you know, or minus, either way on either side. I can also have it do it every single day or specific days of the week. So we can, you know, set all those programs just by using the 3 little buttons on the side of the unit, on, off, and set. And the nice thing is this has a battery backup for 10 years. I think we got more issues if we don't have power for that much, but, you know, we don't have to worry about losing the programming and the location or where it lives. We also have what we call as our sunrise sunset timer, and it looks just like our appliance module. The nice thing about this is its own standalone timer. Whatever is plugged into it it will control on the timed event. And this kind of was an evolution that came to us from our landscape contractors. So a lot of guys were saying, you know, there's only one transformer on my jobs, so why do I need a DAT, an astronomical timer, inside the house and a plug-in module outside the house? They just want to control the one, you know, just as a niche thing of an astronomical sunrise, sunset, all that kind of fun stuff. So the sunrise sunset timer only handles the device that's plugged into it. It's got 10 pre-programmed timers, kind of like on at sunset, off at sunrise, on at sunset, off at 10 p.m., you know, things like that. It again has a battery backup, and it also we set it up to really handle a lot of heat. In Arizona in the summer at noon, it can be very, very hot. So what we did is we set up some automatic shutoffs. So if the internal temperature of this gets to 185 degrees, it automatically shuts off. Once it cools down a little bit, it will then turn back on, therefore protecting itself and the transformer, you know, kind of giving you guys one more, you know, thing of robustness. Now, all of our plug-in modules and wire modules have what we call a power failure restore to the last state. So if the power fails and the device was on, when it comes back on and the power comes back on, the device will be on. If it was off, it'll be off. So, you know, it's one of those things that you know, a lot of other type systems, if you lose the power, they come on in the off position. And on this little sucker, we give you a 10-year warranty versus our standard 5-year warranty. So we really want to stand behind our products. Now, the advantage of this is it is also a receiver, and I can now remotely control that device from a keypad, a switch, or any kind of an input type device. So it really kind of gives you a two-in-one from an appliance module type standpoint, that I can now automatically have this thing turn on and off on some sunrise sunset events. And I love when technology doesn't work so swell. Okay, here's a nice wiring diagram for the daily astronomical timer. Just plug it in. Like I said, it's not rocket science. We are in the process of creating a unit that'll be a wall-mountable item, which should be available a little bit later this year. I don't have I'm kind of waiting on engineering to give me a little more of a date, but it's a whole lot closer than it's been for a long time. A lot of our professional guys have said, hey, you know, we want to sell something that's not a plug-in style type device, so we're kind of retooling that. All right, the next in the line is our keypad series, the KP series. We call it the KPT4, a keypad transmitter for 4 channels. We've got wall mount units. We also have desktop units, and they come in black or white. That is it, black or white. That's what you get. This is the simple style. So, you know, 4 buttons, again, control 4 groups of lights or devices. Pretty easy to install, hot, neutral, and ground. Or you take the desktop version and just plug it in the wall. So pretty simple, and off we go. Now the wall switches are WS series. We call them the WSX now. We used to have a transmitter version, a receiver version. It's WSXR, and -15, they will handle 15 amp load. Again, they are just on and off. There is no dimming in SimpleWorx product line. If you want dimming, you kind of take a next step up and move on to the PulseWorx type stuff. But you know, PulseWorx, we can do some manual programming, but a lot of guys like using our software for that. And we will be having a webinar later today on PulseWorx products and Upstart and how we can program all that stuff. Now, the WSXR15 is our wall mount unit. The DST This is the easiest little switch to install. All you do, plug it in. Okay, really, really simple. This can be the panic light, the panic button for that client that they hear bump in the night and they want to turn things on. Plug it in the wall, and we can now link this to the outside lights. So I'll hold the top down, top for transmit, for the 8 seconds until the LED blinks on it. Okay, I can go to whatever switch I want it to control, so I'll do the outside porch light. I use the bottom for receive. Hold that down for the 8 seconds until the light blinks. The next time it blinks, it's connected to the switch. Now, a lot of people ask, hey, Scott, can I, do more than one switch at a time? Yes, you can. So I'm going to add these 2 switches to this same transmitter because it's still blinking, which will do that for 5 minutes. So I'm going to hold these 2 switches down on the bottom for their 8 seconds till they blink, and they will come back within the 20 seconds and say, hey, I've learned that signal as well. So all 3 of those have now been added to this one transmitter. So to take it out of transmit, you tap the switch once. My LED is now solid. I press the switch. Voila, they all turn on. I press the bottom. Boom, they all turn off. Real easy. I don't know how simpler we can make something for people. If I so chose later that I wanted to add the plug-in module, I can press the button here for the 8 seconds, and you should be able to see the light up here in a moment. Okay, and then I can come over to the switch and put it in the transmit mode side. So it doesn't really matter what order you put it in, setup. You can go transmitter to receiver or put the receiver in. Either one of them is going to stay in setup for the 5 minutes. So tap it again, took it out of setup, turn it on, everybody turns on. Hit the bottom, hit the switch again, hit this, and everybody turns off. So let's kind of get this down just a little bit. So super, super simple, super easy. That to me is the easiest way to demonstrate to somebody. Take a plug-in module, take a desktop unit here, and off you go. We also have a DSXR, this one down here in the lower right-hand corner that has a specialty type plug. So if I have a lamp next to my bedside, when I turn on everything else, it'll turn that lamp on as well. So kind of a nice little piece. Now, each of our switches is actually a 3-way master. The switch itself, okay, this has one of our screwless plates on it, but we've got our standard wires. We have our neutral, our hot, and our load, the red. But every switch has a yellow wire, so it's set up to be a master switch. If I have an existing 3-way, and I want that switch to be controlled by something else or have it control something else, I would need a companion switch to work with this switch. So in this scenario, this wiring scenario, you have the WSXR without a load. This is a virtual 3-way switch talking to a WSXR with the switch. Okay, so that is our perfect situation of a virtual 3-way. If we had an existing 3-way switch, the switch on the left would be our companion, and we would actually have the traveler wire. So, we can access that. I mean, the first wiring diagram is really kind of what a lot of electricians are doing is creating that virtual 3-way switch. They don't have to run that third wire. Now, this scenario is a WSXR on both ends with a light, and that we call that cross-linking. So in this scenario, we would set up the capability of when I can turn on, this switch, I could have it turn on, say, my outside lights as well. So I would press the top here for the 8 seconds because it's going to be the transmitter for the top. And then I hit the receive side or the bottom on the light I want it to control. And once that switch blinks again, they're connected. So if I take this out of setup, okay, if I turn it on, it'll go turn the other device on. I can turn it off. It'll turn that device off. Now, if this switch was somewhere else in the house, I would need to have to come back, because right now if I turn this on, it just turns itself on. I need to have this become the transmitter to the receiver of switch number 2. So I press the top here for the 8 seconds, and I press the bottom over there for the 8 seconds. And that is what we call cross-linking, because now, depending on what switch you turn on and off, both of the lights are turning on. Okay? So now if I turn this switch on again, it'll turn on my front porch. I turn the front porch off, it turns on the landscape lights. So that is now a true cross-link virtual three-way, having one light control another light. So I just explained all of that fun stuff. But we can also have it do multiple lights. It doesn't have to be just one switch to another. It could be one to multiples. Your office is a great application for that. How many places do you go that right by the front porch or right by the front door, there's a switch, a little sticky note that says turn off the printer, turn off the lights, do this, do that. Well, in a scenario like this, because I turn that one switch off, it can go turn all of the other lights off, or plug-in modules or receivers. So in that situation, a lot of people are using our fixture modules, and we call that the FM series. So the FMTAC is has hot, neutral, and a purple wire on it. We have an FMTCC, which gives you put a contact closer into it. So with that, the FMTAC takes the high voltage input, the FMTCC takes the low voltage input. The receiver, the FMRAC, that'll do a full 20 amps. This is kind of the unit itself. We have the hot, the load, and the neutral. On the transmitter version, this red wire is purple. So if we apply power to that purple wire, it goes and transmits. This is the receive side, so it would receive the signal. And the program button is right here on the front, right next to the LED. Now, one of the other advantages to this piece is that this is a 1/4-inch knockout, or a 1/2-inch knockout, excuse me, to fit into the knockouts on your J-box. So you can actually mount that on the outside of the box versus the inside of the box in certain situations. Now, typical FMR, hot, neutral, and our load, whatever we want to control. And again, this will handle a full 20 amps, so that can do a full circuit in a house. The nice thing about the FMTAC is, a lot of people say, hey, Scott, I don't have a neutral. I got an old house, a la mine. I don't have a neutral in the wall to run one of your switches. How can I control something if I don't have a neutral in it? Well, what we do is we wire the FMT up at the fixture itself and use the standard toggle switch. Because what this will do is when I apply power to the switch, or to the light, right, by turning the switch on, it then will power up the FMTAC, and then once it has its power on, it goes and transmits. So we can now use this in a situation, some older homes, as a different type of an application. And of course, the FMTCC, you just have hot and neutral, and you just put whatever kind of contact on it, or a motion sensor, or occupancy sensor, or a pressure switch, whatever you want, something that is just going to give you a contact closure on that device. This is a very big application. Everybody says, why don't you guys create a motion detector, a PIR, that, when you walk in front of it, it goes out and turns on lights. Well, there's a lot of companies that do that already. I don't need to get into that business. We just take our FMTAC and put it up here at the existing motion sensor, and we put the purple wire to the light portion, because the power is there running the motion sensor itself. As soon as the motion sensor sees something, it applies power to the lights, which gives me power into the FMTAC, and it therefore can go and turn any receiver on elsewhere in the home, be it a switch, be it a plug-in module, be it fixture modules, whatever you'd like it to be. So you can just take that device and off you go. All right, let's get into our plug-in module series. The PM series. We have a PMTCC, a plug-in module contact closure. And I'm going to take that out here. Looks just like the appliance module. We have a little connector here on the bottom that is disconnectable. Little device you can put wires into here. And we can plug that in the wall. So we can put that into an alarm panel, anything along that nature. Now, if I wanted to join that to, say, the outside lights, again, this is our program button here underneath the LED. I press that down for the 8 seconds, so a little light blinky blinky, and then go over to whatever device I want it to control on the bottom, and all of a sudden, next time it blinks, we'll be set. Now, we do have a secondary channel to the 2 other screws here, and I'll take this out of setup. So now when I close my 2 little paper clips here, it goes and sends out the command, turns on the light, I release the contact, and it goes and turns them off. There is a secondary channel on the PMTCC that actually gives me 12 volts AC for any type of a sensor that you might want to power from that, but it does need an AC input. We also have a receiver. We have the PMR-AC, which we've been talking about, the appliance module. That'll handle 20 amps as well. But we also have a receiver version. So there's some people in the low voltage industry that have an oops moment, and they forgot to run a low voltage wire from point A to point B, and they need contact closure. So with the transmitter version and a receiver version, I now have a remote control dry contact switch. I close the contact here, and it closes the contact there, all without running wires, and I can do that for 5,000 linear feet. Bingo, we win. So on the contact trigger again, 1 and 2 screws are the input, and then the 12 volts AC out is pin 3, and your standard COM is number 4. So, a lot of people say, hey, when I open the garage door, I want to turn lights on. Well, here you go. Here's the simplest way to do that. Just take a, 25-cent relay, garage door opens, turns lights on. And I can have that talk to a plug-in module, a wall switch, a fixture module, and the PMRCC would give me the contact closure at the other end. So I've had guys that are running home theater type guys who forgot to run a wire for a screen or some type of an input when the amplifier turns on. They want something to come down. These 2 pieces just are the bomb for that. The PMR-AC, we can use it to run transformers. This diagram shows the transformer as a plug-in transformer. You can use the FMR-AC if you want to do a wiring style. And in this situation, if that was a hardwire unit, you could actually mount the appliance module right inside the transformer itself. And then you can have the DAT send it its commands from inside the house. And again, I can have multiple transformers around the property, and I can control them individually or together. So, you know, the next step is I want manual control, so you can give somebody a keypad on the wall, or you can give them a desktop keypad, for that matter. You just plug it in next to the bedside or wherever they want to have it. And some of the other applications, you know, emergencies for our security guys. You know, everybody's got a siren, but, you know, why not turn the lights on when the alarm goes off? Real simple, real easy to do. You know, some alarm panels can have that relay, you know, toggle, so all of a sudden I can have the lights get out, and somebody's going to notice that a little bit quicker than just lights turning on too. You can also take it for emergency egress. You know, if the alarm goes off or smoke detector goes off, why not turn lights on, you know, follow the light, get out of the house. Any panel gives you a contact closure output, so be it security, be it fire, whatever you want. One of the newest items in our product line is our receptacle module. We call it the RAM 15. And I think the guys did a pretty good job here on this. We took an off-the-shelf receptacle and added a piece on the back. The top outlet is controlled. It is tamper resistant. It has these the new shutters, as they call them, so they automatically close. You don't have to put those little kid-resistant little plug-in things in them anymore. There's actually a shutter in there. And on the side, the top is controlled, and the power comes into the bottom. So we will handle 15 amps on this device. They come in 5 different colors: white almond, ivory, and black. And the nice thing is that I can use the upper screw here on the power side of it downstream to control external load on that. So I might have a standard receptacle down the wall that I can now control that. You know, it's really good for Christmas lights and things along that nature. Actually, let me kind of come back here. The neat thing about this is that the program button is inside the ground plug here on the controls portion. The bottom, we have an LED in that ground pin, so when the power comes on to it, it actually lights up and illuminates. So we give you a little wooden stick so you can, you know, hold the button down for the 8 seconds internally. That way we didn't have to go with any kind of special plate or something along that nature. And then the LEDs inside, which becomes a pretty interesting little night light as well. You know, a lot of people keep saying, you know, how do I spec the product? How do I lay it out? You know, how long is it going to take? Well, time per point, I say, is 30 minutes, and that includes everything from your selling to your installation to your programming. So 10 minutes of your selling and designing, or you know, convincing Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones that, hey, this is the product you need. Installation, does it take me 10 minutes to plug this thing in? No. I don't think it takes me 10 minutes to plug that in. But it might in a situation where I might have a bank of switches or something like that. These are nice averages. Setup is 2 minutes, you know, per item. You know, we're talking 8 seconds on each end, but I might have to get, you know, across the house or something. And so it still gives you 8 minutes of fudge factor. So, you know, you can turn around and look at things and do your quick quote. Everybody says, what's it cost? What's it cost? Well, here's your time factor. You want to talk about pricing? Talk to your distributor. We sell our products through our wholesale distributors. So pricing is pretty standard, pretty inexpensive. So let's kind of talk, Pat, about some of the marketing benefits. We don't have to run any new wires. We can save hundreds of dollars in hours of labor. I actually had a guy sell 2 of our switches for $1,000. And the reason being is the client needed something controlled across a concrete patio. And the other option was to rip up the concrete, run the conduit, run an extra wire, things like that. And that was going to cost a lot of time, a lot of money, a lot of cleanup, a lot of different people. So, you know, guys say, what's the cost? Well, what's it worth? You know, that's really the reality. We can control single or multiple loads, and we can handle a full circuit. So, you know, that's a nice thing. I don't have to worry about that. It's super, super simple to set it up. You install it, you link it, and you leave. So if you came on a short bus, I can't help you. There is no computer programming with this. SimpleWorx, you know, we can do either computer or manual programming, but a lot of guys wanted to get away from the computer programming. I got a question here that says, since SimpleWorx and SimpleWorx use different technologies, does that mean they aren't compatible? That's correct. They will not talk to each other. However, they can coexist in a home. So one of the things that I always ask when you're working with a client, it's about what does the job need? Does the client want to dim things? Is, you know, hey, I want lighting control. They know that. So is it just I want to turn things on and off, or do I need to dim them? And if it's dimming, you take them to the SimpleWorx line. Now, how can I, let's say I start somebody on a SimpleWorx product, can I make them talk to each other? We can, but you need to use, let's say, an output module from SimpleWorx to an input module on SimpleWorx, so as this relay closes, it puts the input into the SimpleWorx piece, which then goes talks to UPB, and vice versa. So I might have a SimpleWorx system, and then, you know, for some reason, you know, going from SimpleWorx to SimpleWorx really doesn't make logical sense to me, but going from SimpleWorx to SimpleWorx does. So hopefully that answers your question there. The other big benefit to SimpleWorx is there's no coupling. Again, that signal is very, very strong at that very low frequency, so we really don't need to do the coupling. We've got a 5-year warranty on all of our stuff. That's pretty advantageous. Designed and made here in the U.S. But wait, there's more. Has a money-back guarantee, including shipping. So if for any reason one of our dealers or our contractors is not happy with the product, be it doesn't do what we say it does, the client isn't happy, things along that nature, we will buy the equipment back. So let's do a role play here. I have Joey Bag of Donuts from ABC Installation. He goes and he buys it from, you know, XYZ Distribution. Goes and puts it in. For some reason, they're not happy, the client or Mr. ABC dealer. What he can do is he can give us a call. We will try and make him happy in every way, shape, or form. If not, okay, here's our UPS number. Send me the product and the invoice from XYZ distributor, and we'll write you a check. And we will contact Mr. Distributor, and Mr. Distributor, don't be charging $2 million per device and expect to get a check for that. So, you know, what we do is we will stand behind the product line. There's a lot of people in this world that have been burned by lighting control in the past, and we want to make sure it's as painless as possible. That being said, we have a nice little trifold handout. You can give us a call. It shows the transmitters, you know, point-to-point control. Open it up, and it's got the transceivers and then the receivers in it. On the back, it's got all of the part numbers. We also have specification sheets that kind of talk more towards specific applications with all the different pieces on it. You know, three-way switch here, you know, for our electrician friends. Security lighting made simple for our security type installers, and a landscape spec sheet as well for our landscape type guys. Those of you that have a storefront or our distributor friends, we also have a counter mat, you know, so you can point. Everybody seems to be from Louisiana, St. Louis, or from Missouri. Show me. So let's go ahead and show them what everything is. And from that, you know, that really kind of covers what we've got. We've also got some banners available and some working displays for our distributors, our distributor partners out there. You know, we can work with the dealers too if they're looking for, you know, a super simple demo type of a thing. But you know, most of my guys are either getting a keypad in a desktop controller or taking a switch and using a couple of plug-in modules to explain anything to anybody. You know, programming the DAT4 is very, very straightforward. Unfortunately, I don't have, I left mine at the office. It's not my demo case, but you're basically using the buttons on it, and you step through different things. With our testing, I actually gave one to my next door neighbor, and she was able to set up her DAT4 timer without any instructions, just by pushing on buttons. So it's pretty straightforward. You know, you pick your latitude and your longitude, you pick your time zone, are you daylight savings time or not, you know, what group, what device, and kind of step through that pretty quick. So at this point, if you guys have any questions or gals have any questions, I'm here to answer. I think you've kind of seen that SimpleWorx can give you a solution to some issues that you come across in the place. And one of the things I'd like to offer for you all, taking your time, is we have what we call Just Try It program. And you will be getting a follow-up email with this document as well. It's basically 30% off of our normal dealer cost. You can get this from your distributor. We have two kits. One is just Try It, basically for electricians, which gives you a DAT, a desktop keypad, 2 switches, and a plug-in appliance module. That's really kind of the hardwire style. And we also have one for more of the low voltage style that gives you a DAT, the desktop, an SST, which is the standalone timer, receiver, and then 2 appliance modules. So you actually have three modules in 3 devices you control there. In the hardwire version, the E version, you have 2 switches and a plug-in module. So, you know, we offer this to you guys. Try it, play with it, sell it, go make an extra, you know, 30–35% on it. Put some money in your pocket. So if you got any questions, I'm here. So we thank you for your time. And, you know, if you got any questions, give us a holler, 888-701-9831. If you want to contact me directly, my email is scottk@pcslighting.com. Hope you've learned something. I think it's, I guess I did a good job. There's not a whole lot of questions here. So thanks a lot. Hope you folks have a great day, and we'll see you at the next one. And yes, there is no dimming in this. The question, I understand that there is no dimming. At this moment in time, there is no dimming in the SimpleWorx line. We are trying to get to that capability. I've seen it work, but we haven't brought things to market as of yet. So if you're looking for dimming, we do recommend that you use the PulseWorx product line. Any other questions, thoughts, comments? Okay. See you around town, folks. Have yourself a fantastic Friday, great weekend. We'll talk soon. Thanks.